this is Dawn People versus Suicide Squads. The Dawn People reviews, they tend to get a good amount of views, but I'm really running on fumes trying to find Dawn People comics in my collection. So expect us today another stir-fry squadron where I fudge the lines, even though the Robot Man isn't even Brendan Fraser's. This one though, it has the Dawn People fighting against the Suicide Squads, and there's this here wraparound cover which shows even more characters. This iteration of the Dawn People, it's just before Van Morrison took over writing their book, and before his run they were more of an espionage government agency type of team. They were a bit like the Suicide Squads actually, and that's probably why they were crossing over. And the story here is that Swallow from Spit and Swallow, he is off by himself doing some grassroots militia shite in one of them loser countries, and it is a disgrace to America. It's even in the papers, and so that actor, he tells all the top secret government agencies to deal with this problem. So we have got the bossy lady from the Suicide Squads, and this is the guy from RoboCop 2014. And on the next page, here is the Dawn People, but these aren't really the Dawn People you'll recognise. This is Centigrade, this is Prospero. Well, this one is everyone's favourite. It is Robot Man Brendan Fraser's. Really funny guy. I mean, look at that hat he is wearing. Comedic gold. And this one, this is the distaff version of Mummymon. Maybe it's Mummymon's lass, the one who digivolved into a spider thing. She was hot. Not when she was a spider. Spiders are not sexy, but when she was in like her human form looking one. Definitely the hottest Digimon, and it's barely even bestiality, because she just looked like a real lass. Arachnimon, I think she was called, something like that. Arakenimon, Aru Kenimon, I think that was it. She was hot, that's her day, she's hot. I didn't like that spider shit though. And here we have got the Suicide Squads, and this is an odd mix of characters and not really any of the well-known members of the Suicide Squads. They're not even very well-known characters either. This lineup of the team only appears in this story. From left to not left, we have got a really hot woman who would definitely rape me. We have got Think Man, who is probably the most well-known of these losers. There we have got a Wary Wolf, that is RoboCop 2014, he is leading the team. At the end, we have got a guy who is not a number, he is a man. And this team can barely even get along with themselves, so obviously they're not going to get along with the Dawn People or Swallow. And then the two teams, they are both converging on the same thing. They've got the same objective. They're going to go and find Swallow. And the Wary Wolf, he is brutal. He just keeps mauling everyone. And then, unsurprisingly, the two teams bump into each other and they end up fighting. But straight away, the Wary Wolf, he immediately pounces and kills Think Man, who, didn't forget, is on his own team. This, it can be a bit hard to follow because most of these characters are unknown and they have not been set up that well. You do start to gravitate towards the ones you just like the look of, like the sexy lesbian or the sexy Digimon, or of course Robot Man Brendan Fraser's, because, well, he's just funny. He is family friendly, and that's what I like about him. He's like Jim Gaffigan, except without the audience. A lot of the Suicide Squad's members in this issue, they just end up dying. And then RoboCop, he puts on Think Man's helmet, and it makes him evil. And then when they're all fighting, the Russian Iron Man cosplayers show up to arrest everyone. And I haven't made this issue sound very good, but there is a decent story in here. You just have to be prepared to open like a dozen Wikipedia pages to look up all these people you won't have heard of, and then get a bit miffed that you did all this research, because a lot of them quickly die. Even this version of the Dawn People, they were called the New Dawn People. They were not very popular. They replaced the original Dawn People, and then when Van Morrison came onto the book, they were nearly all written out or killed off. That is a shame, because I do think Aru Kenimon here, she has potential, just didn't have her digivolve into a mega form, the spider form, because it wasn't sexy. This woman here though, Centigrade, she is the leader of the New Dawn People, and her backstory is that she was meant to have been secretly married to Professor X, like behind the scenes, and I think she actually dies off panel right at the start of Van Morrison's run. And then he just has Professor X say that he was never married to her and he had no idea who she was. But yeah, the big bad turns out to be the guy from RoboCop, because nobody really liked RoboCop 2014. And now he's wearing Think Man's hat, and he's been all evil and rapey with Centigrade. And Robot Man, Brendan Fraser's, he fights the werewolf, and this is like a prequel to Furry's Revenge, so this is brilliant as far as I'm concerned. It's quite a packed story. It's full of stuff. It's just a shame that you won't know about 3/4 of the cast. They're also fighting all the Russian Iron Man cosplayers, and the lesbian dies before she gets to rape me, and we've not even gotten to Swallow yet. And then we have got, this guy, the man who is a man, not a number. He's actually an Dawn People villain who is on the Suicide Squads in this, and the Dawn People link is probably why he's here. This is very much a Dawn People story, and I would like to read more about the New Dawn People, because, well, there was like an interesting little kind of corner of the DC universe where it was all about the government and political intrigue and spies and cloak and dagger stuff. You had stuff like the New Dawn People, you had Suicide Squads, you had Captain Atom and Firelord and Pacemaker and Mankiller and the Chessmen. All very interesting, like a little umbrella group, and they were always crossing over and sharing characters a lot. And with this, I suppose they could have even brought in Spit and Swallow into the fold, but they didn't end up doing that. All these books, they did that long crossover, the Janus Directions. It was between all these books, and it was really long because there were so many characters floating around in this little corner of the DC universe. Actually, right at the back of this, we have got an advert for one of the books, The Chessmen. Most of these series, they were written by like the same 2 or 3 writers. This is probably my least favourite one of all the books. I don't think this is accessible to new readers at all. And even the Suicide Squad's readers. This is a New Dawn People comic through and through. Which also just happens to use the idea of the Suicide Squads. It is enjoyable when you can follow it though, so I'm going to give it 7 thumbs up.